It'll come as no surprise, an undying love for one another isn't Sandy's and Hiro's only passion.
So I've been diving for about 17 years now. I think it's sort of like traveling different parts of the land for me. It's like going to different countries.
My passion for diving is basically because you're weightless underwater. It's the closest thing that you can get here on Earth to being in outer space.
But when they first met over 10 years ago, there was an instant attraction.
Sandy and I, we met in Vietnam. We were both working there to do our diving instructor and training and stuff.
I was just coming in one night to the dive shop. I walked in, he thought I was a customer at the time, and I was just taken aback by how handsome he was, and he just had this sort of a mystery there that I was wanting to get to know.
Romance blossomed, but where would two fanatical divers want to tie the knot? I can't imagine.
Every time I saw an underwater wedding in the shallow water, it wasn't just for me to see, that's not the wedding I wanted to do.
Oh, fair enough.
And we had a good friend of ours recommend that maybe we should do a textile, deeper wedding. And once he threw that out there, we kind of drank a little bit too much beer and kind of went with that idea, and it just got crazier as we went along.
So crazy, in fact, this wedding was not only going to be a death-defying dive, but a world first in an uncharted sinkhole surrounded by caves. I mean, what is wrong with these people?
So for our wedding, we chose the location of Song Hong Lake, just outside of Ao Nang, Thailand. The sinkhole itself is about 60 meters across and 100 meters deep.
You could literally be the first one to turn that corner and open into a new air pocket or the space that nobody has seen it before.
We got to 123 meters in the cave and there was nothing there. And we thought this would be really, really difficult to have the wedding here.
So we decided to continue, go a little bit deeper to look around if there was any better place.
Each meter that you add at that depth is a huge consideration. And it just so happened when we reached exactly at 130 meters, there was this perfect rock that came out from the cavern wall. And it was flat, and it just screamed to me, this is the altar.
Diving to a depth twice the height of the Sydney Opera House can have an overwhelming effect on the body.
Diving at 130 meters, you are at 14 times surface pressure. So you can feel it in your ears and sinuses, even into your teeth where your sinuses hit the nerves on your teeth, and of course your lungs.
There's quite a significant pressure on your body. You can definitely feel the density of the gas that you're breathing in.
You can't just breathe normal air down there, it's extremely toxic. We had a mixture called trimix. We had 72% helium, 6% oxygen, and then the rest would be nitrogen. If you ascend too fast from the depth, you can end up with paralysis, and in the worst case scenario, death. Another danger would be diving on rebreathers themselves. They are sometimes referred to as a little box of death.
So, there's no questioning. This is a perilous plunge. Thankfully, Sandy and Hiro are meticulous planners.
To do this dive and get married at 130 meters, we had to keep to a very, very strict schedule. Therefore, we had planned the descent and ceremony of the dive to have to be finished in 15 minutes.
Later, the wedding party begin their wedding vows and risk everything to seal the deal.
There is a small thought that kind of runs through your mind when you first take out your breathing loop at 130 meters. I've got no air to breathe and I'm ready to kiss somebody. Am I insane?
Earlier, Sandy and Hiro were planning to take the plunge. A record-breaking dive, 130 meters down an uncharted sinkhole in Thailand. I mean, I don't, why?
I was the last one to arrive at the lake, and my dad was there waiting. And at that point, that was a really hard time for me not to start tearing up, because it was just something that I guess every little girl dreams about, is having their dad walk them down the aisle, and I knew this was probably way different than what he ever imagined.
Yeah, I can see Sandy holding very hard not to cry. When they got into the waters, yeah, it suddenly felt very real that we were doing this.
We said our final goodbyes to everybody on the surface, and it was descent time. Hiro and I went first, and others followed, and we knew that we needed to get down there quickly, and with our eye on the target of getting to 130 meters and starting the ceremony.
So once we reached 130 meters, our ceremony began. Because we were diving with a high percentage of helium, we can hear everybody's voice basically squeaking through the rebreathers.
And you're saying some really serious things to your partner in this high-pitched, like Minnie Mouse voice. So it's all very comical.
But then the couple had to seal the deal with a kiss. But at these depths, such a simple thing was very complex. I mean, I could have told them that.
After we had exchanged the rings and recited the vows, we of course needed to kiss. There is a small thought that kind of runs through your mind when you first take out your breathing loop at 130 meters. I've got no air to breathe, and I'm at 130 meters ready to kiss somebody. Am I insane?
At those depths, you don't normally take the rebreathers loops out, but we took the loops out by closing it and then take it over our head. That could have been another record if we wanted to. It could have been an deepest underwater kiss.
Once the ceremony was over, we then knew we had to get out of there. We had to begin our ascent. You are required to do lots and lots of stops on the way up, about one every 3 meters. So you can imagine that's quite a number of stops. On our way up, towards our last stops, we came into a habitat. Habitat is basically just an upside down container large enough for someone to go up into.
Oh my God, no way!
Our support divers came down with a bottle of champagne, opened it up, and had a bit of champagne.
Cheers, guys. Awesome.
Normally we would never drink alcohol, we would never do anything like this, but we were like, oh, what the heck, it's once in a lifetime, it's a very special event.
We got married, 130 meters.
Having celebrated their union, the couple had to wait for over an hour before heading to the surface.
The very last part of our ascent, we reached out to one another's hands because we knew we were going to break the surface, and it was such an awesome feeling just to know that we did it and everyone was there to take part in it and see us come out of the water.
They were throwing the rice all of us, and yeah, it was great to have that feeling of dive ending with success.
So the wedding went without a hitch, and now the couple also hold the world record for the deepest underwater wedding. I mean, again, why?
Yeah, I guess it is outrageous to some people, and some people wouldn't even think about having a wedding in the lake with the muddy water or the cave system, or thinking about going down to the extreme depths.
I wouldn't do it in any other way. It was meant to be for us to get married in this way.